Hi everyone, Mitch from SportsChatPlace.com, and it is Monday, January 21st, 2019, here with the free live show. Of course, we're here live 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Of course, we do at least 3 free picks on this show every single day. Our best bets over at SportsChatExperts.com as well as SportsChatPlace.com Premium Plus. Got a great schedule today with it being Martin Luther King Day here in the United States. We have all day NBA basketball. You guys know I love weekday daytime sports. We got it today. Of course, we have some small games in college basketball during the day. Well, not small games, just the smaller schools playing during the day, and then in the evening the larger schools take over. Of course, Monday not usually a big day in college basketball, but not a bad schedule today. But, of course, like I said, we do at least 3 free picks every single day. Some people say that some guy sent me a nasty comment saying that likes my show but says I'm terrible at multitasking and that I pause too long during these videos. Maybe he's right, but let's see him try and juggle 6 different conversations at once and try and do the show. We're already 20 minutes late today. I just figured the show must go on, but I do have couple of things that I'm doing at the same time. So if I pause, that's exactly what I'm doing. Of course, if you're watching us on YouTube Live, if you can hit the thumbs up, greatly appreciated. Shouldn't take you more than half a second, but cost you nothing and helps us a bunch. Of course, we're going to be having all sorts of giveaways. See, I'm wearing the old Sports Chat Plays t-shirt, which I think is really cool. It says what we do, but it doesn't really emphasize the Sports Chat Plays part. So we're going to probably do some things. And, of course, we have different colors now that we, for the site since we last did these shirts. I was talking to a guy maybe throwing in some stickers and some other stuff. Anyways, these 3 free picks every single day. Still head shaking and head scratching over those NFL championship games yesterday. Tom Brady once again marching the Patriots down the field, but boy, that Patriots defense was an absolute sieve in the second half, blowing the 14-point lead. And when the game comes down to a coin toss, boy, maybe it's time for a rules change as far as the way that overtime works in general. It's like if they score a touchdown, the game is over. If they score a field goal, the game goes on. Maybe they should have a chance to like the way sort of closer to the way that college football does it. I don't know. I mean, it just seems that it's a lot of games to play to come down to a coin flip. I don't know, just my opinion. Ron Medov has a question. It says, Mitch, can you explain to me 1.5 over in betting terms for MMA? Placed that bet in the over and they gave me a loss. It means that the fight will last over 1.5 rounds. So if it didn't last over 1.5 rounds, then you lost. That's what that would be. I didn't watch the fight, so I don't know. Not an MMA person. I watched the. When was he disqualified though? At what point in the fight was he disqualified? Anyways, second round early, 228 of the second round. Yeah, so it did not go. It didn't go, so that's why it was ruled a loser. Anyways, we do at least 3 free picks on this show. So it didn't go at least 1.5 rounds, and that's why it was graded a loser. Go at least 3 free picks here. Our best bet's always over at sportschatexperts.com. It is a good Monday in sports. A lot of times Monday is generally the slowest day in sports. There's a few times out of the year where it isn't. Generally Labor Day is one of those, and Labor Day weekend or generally is generally a good day for sports. Martin Luther King Day is one of them. So we will enjoy it while we have it. I'm trying to get up the YouTube, the Facebook Live is what I'm clicking on right now. That's why you might hear me talking in the background. I'm trying to get it up on my screen so I can see you guys' questions there. At the same time, muting it. Yeah, I don't know. It's like at the same time, you know, the team should be able to stop them if there's a full kickoff. But, of course, we do at least 3 free picks on the show. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of NBA games. And, of course, college basketball. Got the Super Bowl coming up. But, of course, 3 free picks. I don't think D. Ford, I don't think it was his fault. I think, you know, there was a million calls in both the games that could have gone either way. And, you know, or shouldn't have gone one way or the other. It's like, how is that roughing the passers, hitting a guy in the shoulder pads? I think it's a little too far. You know, I think that protecting the quarterback, when that's a penalty, I think I think they've taken it too far. Anyways, it's just, to me, it's, you know, the Rams, you know, once again, you know, here's a team where it came down to a couple of plays, you know, as well. And meanwhile, their whole Super Bowl experience is tainted now, right? Because we all have this negative opinion of the Rams. Hey, this is a team that came back from a big deficit. They ran one of the gutsiest plays you'll ever see. I always say the best coaches are the ones willing to take the risks. And, you know, we saw Bill Belichick take a gigantic risk there going for it with, you know, handing the ball to Rex Burkhead, and he didn't make it. You know, and they still ended up winning the game. We saw McVay go for that fake punt in his own territory early in the game. They don't convert that, it's 20-0, and the game is over. It's, you know, these are what makes them the great coaches. You know, I said it before, even the guy who we don't like, Nick Saban, he did the onside kick in the national championship game a few years back, and, you know, that was the difference maker in the game. The best head coaches are the ones willing to take the chances. Sean Payton led off the second half of the Super Bowl the year that he won with an onside kick, recovered it, and they won. I mean, it could have been, you know, these are plays that could be disastrous. The best head coaches are the risk takers. The guys that play for the field goal at the end generally are the guys that don't make it. I think the Saints' play calling there in that whole last series was kind of weird. I didn't like it. I know they were stacked against. What's your best NBA pick now? Well, my best bets are always over at sportschatexperts.com. as well as sportschatplace.com Premium Plus. So if you're looking for my best NBA picks, that's where you would find them. But I will give out at least 3 free picks on this show. Lately, we've been doing a lot more than that. Here's yesterday's. How did we do yesterday? We had the over in the Patriots game. We had Marquette, Bradley, all winners. We lost with the Spurs, the Capitals. Oh, man, that was terrible. That's why I don't do hockey. But we did win with Vancouver. We were 4-2 yesterday, but one of the losses was minus 156. So I don't know. I don't really call that 4-2. I know the other guys do. I'd call it whatever, plus 250 units. Anyways, let's get to today's games already. It's time. I don't know. You shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's like, that shoulda ran the ball first down. I think so. It's like, to run the clock out. And it's like if you're playing for the field goal and that's what you want there, I could see why they would go for the touchdown, though. I just, all those things are fine. And, but the game is decided on a few plays one way or the other. And when the plays aren't the plays that happened on the field, I could just see why it's extremely tough. It's a tough. I mean, Sean Payton was nearly in tears at that press conference after the game. It's just like, to get to that point, he might never get there again. And he knows that, how hard it is to get to, 10 seconds away from a Super Bowl. He knows how hard that is. And, or a minute away from a Super Bowl. But anyways, let's get to today's action. Let's go to the NBA. Like I said, I have premium picks in some of these early games. We got the Oklahoma City Thunder. Well, just in one of the early games, really. I was looking at a bunch of these, but I couldn't come up with anything. But let's see what we got. We got the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks are getting 11.5 points in this thing. We know on the road their straight-up record is terrible. But 11-12 against the spread. Straight up, just 4-19 this season, which is absolutely, just doesn't get it done, right? But they're great at home, and it kind of balances them out a little bit. Meanwhile, the Bucks are 20-4 straight up, so inverse, right? 4-19, 20-4. It's pretty much an inverse relationship. But the Bucks, while the Mavs cover these big numbers on the road, the Bucks 16-7 against the number at home, and they have been laying some big numbers. 7-2 against the spread in their last 9. The Mavs 4-6. I know this is a ton, but I don't care. I'm going to take the Bucks here. We got inverse line movement as well, which you guys know I like that. So I'm going to take the Bucks minus 11.5, which is a rare pick for me to lay that many points, but actually it's becoming more common because the spreads have been getting out of hand. Anyways, we do at least 3 free picks on this show every single day. Our best bets always over at Sports Chat Experts, as well as sportschatplace.com Premium Plus. The public percentages are available. You just got to look around for them. You can't advertise for other people's websites. But they're around. Soon we'll probably have those stats available on our website. Yeah, the league calling, and what I don't understand, Johnny Ryan on YouTube brings up an issue. He says, and then have the league call you and say they blew it through more salt in the wound. What I don't understand is why they can't go to a stoppage and play right there, and the league can't call and say they blew it right then and make it right. If the league says they blew it after the game, then they knew at the time that they blew it. So why couldn't they call in and say, hey, we really blew this one? I mean, pass interference, roughing the passer are generally calls that are made on the field. These are judgment calls. We see horrific roughing the passers. We saw them yesterday, and if the one on Brady was roughing the passer, then the one on Mahomes was roughing the passer, right? Jared Goff was face masked on where the Rams, they would have scored a touchdown, right? He was face masked, and he ended up getting stopped, and they had to kick a field goal there to tie the game instead of taking the lead. So that's a whole nother issue within itself, right? And, if we went to a replay on every play, they would have caught that. Yeah, I agree that the defensive stops early in the red zone in the first quarter hurt. Also, I think the play calling by Sean Payton, I think that the game management by Drew Brees, I mean, it's hard to knock these guys because, I mean, look at their record, and, especially Drew Brees, I mean, look at his numbers throughout his career. But I think when you take and I said this at halftime of the game, and they changed it in the second half, and maybe they were listening, I doubt it, but, when you take the play clock down to the final 1 second, the defense can just tee off because there's no off balance. That's why the hurry up, throws the defense off balance. They don't have time. They don't know when the ball is going to be snapped. It gives the offense the edge to get the blockers into those defensive linemen. It gives the wide receivers that little head start against the defensive backs because they're off balance. You call the snap at 6-7 seconds to go each time. You have that. If you do it at 1 to 0 seconds every single time, like the Saints were doing, well, the Rams know when you're going to hike the ball. Either you're going to hike the ball then, or it's going to be a too much time penalty. Either way, tee off, right? It's like you're good to go. You're in sprint, and that's how the Rams were able to come back. Pretty sure that it's not the type of things that they would mention. Just like when the Diamondbacks in the World Series against the Yankees, when they were able to come back, it's like Andy Pettitte was apparently tipping his pitches. They knew what he was going to throw. Okay, and but if D Ford wasn't offsides, does he get the pressure? On? Did they get the pressure on Brady that he throws the interception? It's very hard to say. But when Andy Pettitte in that World Series, he was tipping his pitches, and the Diamondbacks were able to pick up on it, and they teed off on him. And after the game, they said, "Hey, is it true that Andy Pettitte was tipping his pitches?" And all the players were like, "Well, maybe. I don't know. Could possibly. It's like, of course he was tipping his pitches, and they're not going to say that because they want to take shots at him next time out. And it was the same thing with Drew Brees bringing that clock all the way down to 1 second every single time in that first half. In the second half, you see he changed that up a little bit. Anyways, we do at least 3 free picks on this show every single day. We got a lot to talk about because those games doesn't get any crazier. I think there's been horrific calls throughout sports, and I was thinking about actually doing an article on it, on some of the worst calls that we've ever seen in the history of sports. And I think yesterday's is up there. I think it's up there. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers, had one where they went to the Super Bowl, I believe, on a catch in the end zone, which wasn't a catch. And that's the one that brought replay in. That's up there. Of course, the Miami Hurricanes against Ohio State in the national championship game. The pass interference, that wasn't pass interference, that was pass interference. That's called after the final gun sounds and the fireworks are going off. I don't know, man. Yeah, there was a lot of whistles in the crowd, and I think that's horrible. Those people should be thrown out, and their tickets should be taken away. If you bring a whistle to a game, they're not allowed. Generally, in college sports, they don't allow anything, but now they allow the cowbells back to Mississippi State. Anyways, let's get to another pick. We're getting deep into the show, and I haven't hardly given out any picks at all. I only gave out one. We got the Pelicans taking on the Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies -3 in this one. Just 2-8 against the spread in their last 10. 1-9 straight up. While the Pelicans 5-5 in their last 10. But one thing we know about the Pelicans is no Anthony Davis, no Dice. And while the Grizz have just 1-9 straight up in their last 10 games, and they're favored by 3 points in this one, I still got to lay the 3 points here with the Grizzlies. I just have no faith in the Pelicans without Anthony Davis. So that's going to be my pick here. It's going to be the Grizz -3. It's tough to lay the 3. Two of the largest. Yeah, the shirts aren't ready, so whatever. You can tell me what you want. We already did the poll. I was just trying to see how many to order for each size. If you guys, the T-shirts likely will go to premium members first. Then we'll have giveaways, and it'll be based upon your participation in, things like subscribing to our channels, retweeting, stuff like that. It'll be easy. It'll be free. If not, you're not going to have to jump through hoops, email subscribers, stuff like that. But Anyways, we'll take the Grizzlies -3. That'll be our second pick for today's show. Of course, we do at least 3 free picks on this show every single day. Our best bets always over at sportschatexperts.com, as well as sportschatplace.com, Premium Plus, 2 of the largest sports markets. Yep, same matchup as the World Series. Same one. Boston against LA. Exact same as the World Series. And exactly the same as the most NBA Finals that have ever been played. Boston against LA. Seems that people love that. Anyways, let's get to another free pick. Get moving along now with the show. Pistons against the Wizards. The Wizards, since John Wall's been out, they've been playing really well. 13-8 straight up at home. While the Pistons, it's very, very tough to put our finger on exactly what this team is doing. It's kind of like they're becoming our Minnesota Timberwolves. It's like we rode the Pistons for a long time, and then they kind of let us down. Wins at home against Miami and Orlando. Loss at home against Sacramento, 103-101. That was a 1.5 point. They were 1.5 point home dogs in that one, if you can believe that. Then, of course, their last road trips, loss at Utah, win against the Clippers. They were getting 7 in that one. Lost to the Kings again, lost to the Lakers, lost San Antonio at home, lost to Utah at home. So it seems that against the better teams, they struggle. Meanwhile, let's look at the Wizards. Have won 3 of their last 4. 2 of those against really good teams. Milwaukee and Philadelphia, the loss coming against Toronto, the win. Another win coming against the Knicks, but just by 1, and that was the game in London. They were favored by 7.5 in that thing. But, the Wizards were pretty flat in that last one. I look for the Wizards to take care of business here. I like the way that they've been playing, which is crazy coming out of my mouth. We'll take the Wiz minus the 5.5. Man, I'm on 3 favorites so far on the show. Let's get to college basketball. Of course, we do at least 3 free picks on the show. Normally we do more. Our best bet's always over at sportschatexperts.com, as well as sportschatplace.com, Premium Plus. But let's see what we have rolling in college hoops. I gave out 3 premium college hoops picks. And there's not a ton of action here in the day. Most of these are the smaller teams. Yeah, it's not like me to take 3 favorites. So let's get off the favorites. Take Virginia Tech plus the 4.5 against North Carolina. I like the way VT plays defense, and that should travel well in this one. Coming on, they took a pretty bad beating against Virginia. I like the Hokies though, and I like the way they're playing. 15-2 this season. Tar Heels 14-4, but the Hokies just 1-2 straight up on the road. 0-3 against the number. I think they break the ice here. We'll take Virginia Tech plus the 4.5. That'll be pick number 4 for today's show. Of course, today is Martin Luther King Day. It's one of the American heroes, I would call him, and certainly not a guy that always played by the rules, or what everybody wanted him to say and what he wanted him to do. And I respect the hell out of that, because let's face it, I say a lot of things that people don't appreciate also, and I say a lot of things that are against the grain, and it's guys like Martin Luther King who ensure that we have those rights to say what we want to say and do not everything we want to do, but do most of the things we want to do within the legal limits, right? But I really appreciate it, and it's just awesome that we celebrate this as a holiday, Martin Luther King Day, here in the United States, and I like that it's widely recognized, and I like that the people that don't recognize it are seen as are punished for that, which is even better, right? It's like, thank God he had a dream. Anyways, let's get to another college basketball pick. But it's always, holidays, it seems that the way the U.S. workforce works these days, that's like they're kind of against holidays or something. But I have to say, certain things are a little more important than others, and I would say that even though it falls like kind of right after, the major holidays like Christmas and New Year's, I still think it's important. So we'll do one more pick. We'll go to college hoops. Let's go to one of these early small games. What the hell? Since we'll go to one of the daytime games. Robert Morris up against Central Connecticut State. Robert Morris 9-9 on the season, 5-6 against the spread on the road. Meanwhile, Central Connecticut 8-10 on the season, 1-2 against the spread at home, and they're laying 3.5 in this one to Robert Morris. This is crazy, right? That these little schools now have point spreads on all the games, which is good for us. But Central Connecticut averaging 72 points a game, but defensively they are really lacking, allowing 79 points a game. I usually when I look at this time of the season, I like to look at what these teams have done recently. And Central Connecticut, once again, lit up on the defensive side of the ball, allowing 16 more points per game than Robert Morris. But anyways, I'm going to take Robert Morris here plus the 3.5 points. And that'll be our last pick for today's show. So recapping today's picks, we took Robert Morris plus 3.5. We took Virginia Tech plus 4.5. Wizards minus 5.5. Grizzlies minus 3. Bucks minus 11.5. Of course, I got tons of premium picks today. NFL officiating, guys, I don't know, man. I have no idea what's going on with NFL officiating. I've been saying it for years that somehow it just keeps getting worse and worse, which is amazing to me. But anyways, have a great day, everyone. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Pretty good schedule tomorrow, too.